Okay, I think we're live. Um, some hype in the chat if everything's working.
All right. Welcome everybody.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with an introduction PowerPoint, and then Jens is gonna talk about some other
Topics.
topics. Yeah, some super chats. All right, it's working. Okay, so introduction to the course. So first of all, the teachers. My name is Milan van Damme. This is
Jens Patheu, hello.
Jens Patheu. We also have Ruben Tak, Istvan Vermeulen, Bert Wouters, and Nico Klukkers. So these streams will be handled by kind of all of
Everybody,
us.
basically, yeah.
Kind of depending on the topic,
The topic.
and sort of who's available and so on and who. But in class you'll have one specific teacher to do your
Ask your questions too, basically.
get your feedback and All right. Let me change what I see here. Yeah. Okay. So the topics of this slide is first the structure of the course, second what we will learn in this course, and then the assignment. So the structure of the course. Well, of course we have this new situation with the COVID rules. Which force us to handle things slightly different or entirely different. And of course this situation can also change. So bear with us with the confusion. We're also confused, and or MC and OCs and so on are also confused, and the government is confused. So everybody's just confused. So just bear with us and just relax. Be like the dog in the meme, like
this is fine. Yeah.
Just relax in the fire. It's gonna be okay in the end.
Just
don't worry.
just know that we'll do everything we can to make it as clear and
Yeah.
good for you guys as possible.
All right, so we'll have less classes together with teachers. So that will mean that you'll do more independent learning. You'll be working more on your own, but you will have resources to sort of learn everything. Those resources are the following. Well, we have a long list here. So first of all, these streams. So these streams are the theory streams. We will cover different topics throughout the weeks that correspond to where you are in the assignment and so on. But we'll sort of group topics together week by week. So it won't always be perfectly like what you will be doing this week and then every step, but it will be more like we'll have a topic and then you'll include that topic in the assignment in the weeks after we've had the stream. The streams could also be videos, like if the stream doesn't work anymore, if it's too complicated, if internet
or we're not allowed to physically be present anymore at the level, for example,
then it will probably change into normal videos. That's possible. Then of course we'll also do sometimes specific videos that are exercises or that explain a specific topic, which we think fits better into just a one-off video instead of in a stream. So that will also happen. So these are the resources that you should watch, you should see. Then we also sometimes have documentations. So not everything needs to be a video. Sometimes it's also a documentation. So just written out with images and so on. There will also be a time lapse of the assignment of Nico making a level, like we'll see in class, and you can watch him do it while like in not in real time, but quicker than real time, but so see sort of how he tackles things very concretely.
It can give you a good vibe, and if you're scared about a few parts, that you
Yeah.
have can see like somebody else making it and get like the entire vibe. And just one, I have a question here from people asking that there are people asking things in Discord. We're not following Discord, so please
Yeah.
ask all your questions here in the YouTube chat. I'm reading it, and if there's something popping up, I'll pass it on to Milan. Okay.
We'll watch it, or we'll read the Discord chat some other time, but while we're doing it live, it's too much to follow, and we'll just be watching the YouTube chat.
Yep.
Well, actually, last year I did watch the Discord chat while streaming, but this year we're gonna just watch the YouTube chat.
Just YouTube, guys.
So come on over to the YouTube chat if you have a question. All right, so these time-lapse videos, and then, of course, we'll have the on-campus feedback moments or question moments, also known as the FCUs. The physical
contact hours. I don't think it's actually been like set to those people what like FCUs and coolies are just.
All right. So, but yeah, those are scheduled in the class, and you should be there if you can. But yeah, just in normal years, I mean, like if you're sick, stay away. Obviously, and yeah, like if you can't make a class or something, that's fine. But at least like watch all the streams.
Yeah.
And in some weeks, like especially after milestones or something, or before milestones, the feedback will be important.
Yeah, exactly.
Do try to come there, and in other weeks maybe it's a bit less important, but
it can be it can be cool as well if you like. If you're on campus, like if you're talking to friends and motivating each other, so that's also something you can take into account, like a reason to be here physically, actually.
Yeah, that was what a lot of people missed. Of course, when we go into an actual lockdown again, this will be replaced by online feedback only.
Correct.
And then, of course, we have the Discord channel where you can ask your questions. And the good thing is there's almost always someone online who will be able to answer your question, like even in the very early hours in the night. So I think 59% of the question that you ask, well, like how to do something in Unreal, can be answered by one of your fellow students. And if it's a personal question, of course, don't put it on Discord. Just send an email.
Yep.
Like if it's if your grandma died and you can't make the assignment, then I mean send us an email. Don't put that stuff on Discord. Send us an email if it's a private matter. All right, and then also available to everybody, and you should also use it, is the official learning resources from Epic. So those are like professionally made videos, documents, etc. that explain basically everything that you need to know. Of course, there's like too much to cover in a semester. Like I think you can spend a few years before you know everything about Unreal that they've covered. But a lot of the topics, if like we don't really need to cover them super in depth, we can also just point towards their videos and say, look, here it's perfectly explained, just go and watch it.
It's redundant for us to like remake things that already are working like so good.
And also the documentation of Unreal, like basically everything, like they have good documentation.
Yep. So that's basically like their how do you call it again?
I don't know, Jen.
God damn, I forgot the word.
Don't swear on stream.
Sorry, guys. Never mind. I'll come back up to it when I remember.
And don't touch the cable too much. I think it makes a sound.
I'm trying my best.
All right. So the learning resources that you get from us, we will all share those on Lego all the time. So all the videos and so on will all be posted there. All right, then what will we learn? What will we cover in this semester? First of all, we'll learn to work with level editing software. The course used to be called level editing. So we also work with materials and shaders. We'll learn to build and design a level. We'll create modular assets to create this level or to fill this level, and to actually have like a finished level instead of just a design. And also, this is like a soft skill, is to become more independent as a student slash wannabe professional. All right. So the first thing, learning to work with level editing software. The level editing software of choice is Unreal Engine 4, benchmark in the industry. It's free, and we'll use 4.25. So if a new version comes out, you don't have to install it right away. We'll decide if we collectively switch or if we just stick with 25. Like, especially if it's late in the semester, we'll just stick with 25. If it's early in the semester and if it's worth it, we might all update.
We can still hope that Unreal Engine 5 pops out.
Yeah,
but
it's probably not really on
looks
time.
promising though. Looks promising.
Yeah, but it's not gonna.
It will not make your level better. Let's just say it that way. That's like a good thing. Don't switch to like 4.26 for example and hope it will fix everything. No. Your lighting or your materials won't look better all of a sudden because you change versions.
All right. So it's free to use, unless you make I think like $1 million or something. And it's actually not a level editing software anymore.
Nope.
It used to be just level editing software. That's where it came from. Unreal Engine 3. You had like the engine, and then you had the level editing software next to it to build your level and to put everything together in the game. But this has all fused together in Unreal Engine 4. And instead of just making games, it's now also used in movies, Artifice, and so on. So basically, throughout the world, there's tons of job opportunities if you can work with Unreal Engine 4.
And it's just really powerful as well. Like, actually, movies industry are also actually going instead of pre-rendered to real time because they're just they're really getting like the power of it. Especially with like Quixel assets. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
All right. Then next topic, so working with materials and shaders, that's something that still fits in here. That's still part of this course. That's basically node-based coding. So you don't have to write, you just place the nodes. Actually, I think almost everybody has done some of that in Houdini maybe, or
game design.
Not yet, but because there's not that much you can do. There's a node for everything, and basically it's known as color mod. So we do mod with the values of colors to get visual effects, So what can we do with that? Well, basically it's animated materials, so materials where not everything is static. Something like a TV screen or like flowing lava, we can do that. So it's not a movie or something that's playing. It's just some mod to combine it, or smart materials where we dynamically change something. With just like you can have like a damage parameter, and as you crank it up, just damage appears on objects or something. Those kind of things, you can do that in shaders.
I'm having a question from Brian. He's asked if we're just talking about blueprints here.
No, blueprints is something else. Blueprints will also be slightly covered.
Tiny part.
A bit at the start. But that's also node-based coding, but materials and shaders is something else.
They're also asking you to speak a little bit louder because apparently I'm screaming in their ears and you're like whispering.
Oh, we can see that. Maybe your gain, or you held your mic closer
I think as well.
Maybe
we can
slightly like this. Okay. So point number 3. Building and designing a level, hopefully something that looks as nice as this. So designing a level, there's lots of different aspects to design.
Yeah.
There's the visual design, like how does it actually look. There's the architectural design, like how do the spaces feel. There's the lighting design, also guiding the player in your level and like understanding the player feedback, like what the player is experiencing in your level. That's actually what you design. You design an experience for a player, and also you can use mechanics to guide that as well. It's a multifaceted part. It's not purely like game design like you had in the first year. We're just making a level, but you're consciously thinking about the experience of the player.
But one thing will like enhance the other, right?
Or yes, of course, yes. And now I forgot my sentence. Yeah.
Sorry.
Thinking about the experience and also using an iterative process to come up with that design. So it's not like you just have one thing in your mind and you do that. You sort of figure out if it's a good idea and like you change it along the way, bit by bit.
And we're here to help you with that, basically.
Yeah, of course.
And to bash on you if it's not good as well.
Jens likes bashing.
No.
All right, and then creating a modular assets to fill the level. So if it's just a block out of the level, just the design, that's fine, but we want it to look nice as well. So for that, we need props and assets made in modeling software such as 3ds Max and with textures like made in Photoshop, etc. But if you would, like the level that we saw previously, that needs a team of artists. So just one second year artist or development student, like just one student doing it alone in one semester, that's impossible. You would think, and yes, that's true. If you use those sort of methods, then it wouldn't be possible. Let's say like if you did it like we do in GAP, in game asset production.
If you're making hero props all the time, you're not going to make it.
That's impossible. But if we work super smart and we take like every shortcut we can take, that sounds good to students. Taking shortcuts.
Of course.
We can actually do it. So what are those shortcuts and tricks? That's basically an extension to. You've seen some of the tricks already in 3D low poly in the city scene, but it's basically an extension. Like you're gonna really use them as much as possible. So first of all, modular meshes, like reusing meshes everywhere, using trim textures, but also using ultimate trim textures possibly. Like
sounds advanced.
So reusing the same texture over and over on the same props. And also using dynamic materials, so we can just change the materials a bit here and there, and even without touching anything, like stuff in corners and so on can get a bit dirty without us having to do anything for that.
There are some questions already.
Yeah, wait. some time as well to set it all up, but once it's set up, it's awesome. So planning is gonna be like more important. Like you have to. Like you can't just tackle your level linearly from one corner to the next. You sort of have to work on everything as you go. All right, some questions.
Yes, there were questions here. Are they allowed to use, because there was that 3ds Max in the slides, are they allowed to use, for example, Maya instead?
Yes, they can also use Maya, Blender,
whatever. And because they also asked like, oh no, Photoshop, not designer/painter, but it really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, but we won't really need the functionality of Painter or something. I mean, you can use it as well, but we won't really need it
because we're actually making smart materials and not specific materials, like actually baking out entire props. That's not the goal of the course here.
Yeah, you'll see lots of that in Game Art Pipeline, and I'm all for that. But for these things, we don't really need that functionality.
No,
but you can also use that software.
Because we're actually going to learn you some tricks by using trim textures and all that stuff, which will speed up the process, because if you have to bake out, model, texture all the modular props, you're not going to make it, basically.
But maybe at first
you
feels
think
like it goes a bit slower, right? At the very start, it feels this is like complicated and so on. Can I just do it like I did in the first year, or like we're doing in GAP? Then it's simple, but we're gonna go a step further and like hack the process. All right. So basically, this sentence: learn to achieve as much as possible with the least amount of work. That means you'll work smart but not lazy. I mean, you can also fail with a very low amount of work, of course.
Of course.
If you don't work. But basically, all those techniques, they should come together to create a nice looking level. All right, and then the last soft skill, becoming more important, independence. Sorry. So
but maybe those be like.
So basically, the first thing is time to grow up. I don't mean it like in a bashful way, like you would say it, Jens, but I mean it in a loving way. For you guys to evolve from the student you were in the first year, when you like the first day you came to the level at the kickoff days or something, if you still remember it, to the basically the last days of your internship, where hopefully you get like a contract extension, to make that transition from like basically schoolboy to a professional. It's time to be more and more independent. So in the first year we still hold your hand quite a bit, and now we starting to let go, right? So we expect a bit more googling from you.
Basically just making sure you figure it out on your own first before you come starting asking questions to us.
So it's also a big assignment, so it's one assignment the entire semester that spans the entire semester. So that's also new, a bit more abstract to long-term thinking. Humans are just bad at that, so that also
short-term solutions.
Short-term solutions, food for the next few hours. That's what we are meant to do. But we will help with that a little bit with deadlines, right? So we'll have two major deadlines. 10% deadlines for the final assignment, but we'll also have some sort of
soft milestones.
They're graded a little bit. Like they're milestones towards the milestones as well. We'll sort of have that as well. Hopefully you follow it, then it should go pretty smooth. But if you miss it a little bit, you can still finish your level, of course. We already expect you to read some documentation if needed. All right, then brings us to the big topic, the end assignment. What will that be?
Exciting.
Some might have guessed it. We're gonna make a level. We're gonna make a small level. I put it specifically in there since every year a lot of students make a big level, but also unfinished and like not as polished as we'd like. But it's really big. But
so you're basically saying quality over quantity.
Exactly. So a small level. Also, just workload wise, you don't have to make a huge level to prove that you understand all the techniques. If you can prove it in a small level, that's fine too. We don't want you to die because you studied DIE.
Don't make World of Warcraft. Basically make just like a nice part of it.
World of Warcraft is 16 years old, so
it's still awesome though.
So basically, how big? That's a lot of questions. A lot of students ask that, and at least one big room. So one big room, also a room with a lot of height, hopefully interesting light situation. One big interesting room, certainly that. Also have at least one nice medium room with
some interesting things happening as well.
That can be a little bit different than the big room. Can be like with the same assets, but like maybe different lighting and so on. And then a few small rooms, small hallways, elevator pieces and so on, like connecting them. But don't make the shapes that you see here. These
are they're not good?
No, they're like the shape that you shouldn't make. But like as a size sort of thing, that's something that you should have in mind.
Scale wise as well, a little bit, right? It's always nice. For example, here you can see how small the human is, and that you're like in a big space.
I mean, but since we're making modular environments, you can make it bigger, a bit longer, but like you can maybe do two medium rooms instead of one medium room. But like don't go overboard with the big rooms and
I know that a lot of you guys are like very excited to make gigantic levels, but please just make it beautiful and a little bit smaller.
All right. So small level, one big area, one medium area, a bunch of smaller spaces. And basically, the game that we make this level for, since that's really important, you always make a level for a game.
Yep.
The level for a racing game, or the level for a
shooter
will be entirely different, obviously. So what's the game that we're making this level for? Well, basically a walking simulator.
Nice.
So
I like my grandmother can play this as well then if she wants.
Yeah, but your grandmother will be like walking in a corner against the wall. So
it will be a very, very beautiful corner.
All right. So basically, a walking simulator where you go from A to B, and that arrow between the two is your level. However, you don't necessarily have to see A and B as 2 points.
Yeah.
Of course, you can. You could also see it as maybe two points in a story, like so that you sort of unravel a part of the story as you go through the level, or you could see it as two positions in the experience of a player. So maybe A and B is actually the same place in your level, but the players
spoilers.
No, but the player sort of made a sort of circle through your level and explored your level and learned something along the way, but he ends up at the same place.
That's
it's also
okay
possible
too,
that you just go from one place to the other place. That's of course fine as well, but it's more than just that. So how can you make that interesting? If it's just a static level, if it looks beautiful and if it's interesting places, then that's fine. That's of course important. So the architectural feeling of the level. So don't just let let the player walk on just a flat plane and just take some corners. Let him go up, down,
elevator, stairs.
Let him look up, let him look down. Let it take those things into account, and to make much more interesting spaces. We can also use game mechanics for that. So in our game. In our walking simulator, actually in the project that you can should shortly find on Liho if it's not already on there, we have a bunch of game mechanics. We pre-made, and basically you can collect stuff, you can trigger stuff, you can open doors, those kind of things, activate elevators, move stuff from one place to another place, those kind of things. The idea here is not that you make a new game.
It doesn't need to be like a gigantic
or like
thing.
a real puzzle or something. It's not.
It's more like to engage the player to go around the level and do stuff.
It's not like in the first year where we did the students did the level. No, not level. Game. My phone rings. Why is that? Okay, it stopped. So in the first year we had the course game prototyping or game design. Not sure, it changes name sometimes. Where we actually try to make new game design and thought about that. So we don't go as far. We just use the stuff that's in there to make our level more interesting, to make our level more engaging, and to make our level come alive. Right?
Yep.
And then finally, of course, and that's the obvious one,
the most important one.
For Jens, but it's definitely important. Is to make it look nice and make it look beautiful. So with nice 3D, nice textures, and nice lighting.
Kind of spoilers.
So if they all come together, you can't see it. Wait.
Just move it, Yeah.
So the combination of those three, if they work together, then that's the golden standard. Where the architectural and the game mechanics and the looks sort of work together and enhance each other.
We're already asking people if you can see some examples, but they're actually spoiling it. Just
almost.
Hold on.
All right. So small recap. So small level, only a few spaces, like I said. Entirely finished. That's important. So no, if you make lots of rooms but they're not finished or they're hardly finished, then it just brings down your average, and you just will get a worse grade basically.
Yep.
So concentrate your efforts on really making those rooms good and nice. And if you already have something in your head that's entirely symmetrical, or maybe these weird geometric constructions, these circles or hexagons that you gotta build up and so on, get that out of your head. Ooh, I touched the microphone there. Get that out of your head, and just be sort of free and think about sort of the topic that you have, and have like a more organic shape for your level. And the look needs to be something that's extremely modular, and that's the sci-fi panel look. So not just the sci-fi look, but the sci-fi panel look that we know from games, movies, etc. That's a topic that lends itself extremely well to the modular workflow. To the workflow that we're applying here. So some examples from previous years, as asked. You ask, we deliver. I'm just gonna scroll through them.
Here you can already start to see with like changing your lighting and setting, you create different moods as well, right? So like exactly here, this feels entirely different than the previous one, but looks amazing. Getting triggered yet to make awesome stuff, people?
So here, this is sort of, it's not entirely sci-fi panels, but a lot of it is. But he combined it with just the texture of bricks for some more variation, and it also works. But like, be careful with this. This student did spend some more time on making textures than some of the others.
Here as well, there's something I want to point out for like the students who are from GGP. If you combine like everything you learn from like GAP and stuff, and you combine it then with the things we teach you, you can make like such awesome materials and like beautiful details. So it's not because you're having different courses that you can't combine the knowledge from different courses in here. So make beautiful stuff. This one is great as well. It's so open, like it feels so spacious, really nice. That's what we meant with like good architecture, right? Big open spaces that are super interesting to look to. Here you want to look up, down, left, right. That's really what we are aiming towards. Go full industrial.
All right. I think we're almost getting to the end here. No, a few more.
Zach, there are actually GD student examples here in as well. Yeah. So it's really not an excuse. Like, I'm a GD student, I can't make this stuff.
So actually, roughly half of them are from GD students. I specifically put some GD students in here. It's true that there are some GAP students, GGP students that sort of go the extra mile and sort of like really go all out. That's true, but that's not what we expect. I mean, great for them, of course. That's awesome, but that's not what we expect, and it's not what's needed to pass the course.
No, because if you're going to use all the techniques we teach you, you should be able to deliver something like this, basically.
Yeah. All right, so as you can see, everything's built from sci-fi panels. Basically, if you think of a sci-fi panel factory, it's the same factory that provided all the pieces for the level. So that means that you can like reuse the same materials and those kind of things really easy. So that's the most modular setting. Of course, other settings can also use those techniques, but they're gonna be a little bit less modular as that, and they're gonna require more different models, more different textures, more. Just more unique artist work. I'll say it like that. More painting, more time spent in 2D and 3D software packages.
For example, in medieval style, all the bricks, the wood, it's madness to make everything and make it match up, especially.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, and you can definitely use the techniques that we'll see to speed up the process as much as you can from this, but it's just going to be way more work. So that's why we're staying away from those kind of settings. Like, we don't want to make too much unique stuff. Like, we don't want to spend the entire semester modeling.
It's not the goal of the course, basically.
It's not the goal of the course. But as you can see, even within that constraint, there's still quite a wide array of different looks and atmospheres that you can achieve. All right, then I'm gonna put up this video. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna put it on the screen. So this student made something really nice. Yeah, but don't do it. The music is really not important.
It is.
So the mistake that this student made, if it's a mistake, is that he made just way too many rooms. But if I remember correctly, he had like like he didn't have all the courses and so on. Like he could really spend more time on this. But the technique that he used to get this awesome result, everybody can apply same technique. Yeah, because his level is so big. His movie takes a while longer. But you see the different rooms and so on. They all look a little bit. They all look relatively unique. Yeah. Right. Maybe you can hear some music on the background. And the idea is also to work towards like a presentation like this at the exam basically.
Yeah, this guy really had a good understanding of the modular workflow basically.
Yeah, I'll show you the pieces that he used.
Yeah, because now it looks like he made 10,000 items, but it's really not the case.
I don't know how smooth it is on the stream. But yeah. So Ahmed, really well done. Let me open this up again. All right. So it's made just with these pieces. That's basically all the pieces that he used to make the entire level. So as you can see, every first year student can make those pieces. They're not complex. They're not special. And every GD student can model these shapes. There's nothing special about them. And if your level isn't as big as his level, you don't even need that many pieces.
No, it can help you to define more stuff, but it's not a necessity.
But like with this thing, you can, or with these pieces, you can make an assignment which is almost 10 times as big as we asked for. So the student made tons of different rooms. It just kept on going.
But
all right, yeah.
I was going to say like a lot of those models look very complex, but that's basically because of the texture that's on it, like the trim texture.
So with the trim texture, indeed. So the semester overview. So we'll basically we'll work towards those two milestones, which is first of all like a blockout design in week 5, and after that we'll start to polish one room, and we'll do all the steps to finish one room.
All right.
So that everything that is needed to also then apply the same techniques and use the same setup for the other rooms, which is then much quicker. So that's then the final part of the semester and the exam period. So managing this large assignment is not easy, and the not easy part is to work a bit every week, so to not postpone it towards these deadlines, but to simply work a little bit every week. And for environments, you should work you should spend about 10 hours in total. Of course, watching streams and so on is also included in those 10 hours. Coming to classes, those kind of things is included in those 10 hours. And that's actually the case for all six study credit courses. But I think, because of the long assignment, this is really a course where you can spend throughout 2 weeks. I think maybe some other assignments sort of with difficult exams, there you spend a little bit less and then you study really hard before the exam. But for this one, it's really like the challenge is to spread out the work
Yeah,
as much as possible and to.
So you're basically telling students they can't do it like in a week if they just like I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, of course they can do it in a week.
If they don't sleep and eat and don't shower and do nothing. No,
Um,
but the big problem is by postponing your work until like the very end is that you're never gonna get feedback. You're
Yeah.
not following with like all the courses, like all the material you give. If you just like
That's the
I'm just
thing.
and then
basically, if you know everything and you don't need feedback, you're basically good enough to pass the course anyway. Then you can probably do it in a week of really concentrated work.
yeah.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but if you're learning it, it's much better to just spread it out
Yeah.
and to just get like do it step by step, basically, and like learn it step by step.
So don't ask feedback on your block out in week 12 or something. You're going to have a really rough time.
and you sort of get the feedback at the correct point. All right, that's the end of the slide, Jens. I'm gonna
All right.
give the words to and the mouse to you. Well, we have two mouses connected to the same thing.
Corona.
The mouse control to you, and I'll be reading the.
You have to put on your
I'll
Bluetooth.
be reading the. My Bluetooth. I'll turn on Bluetooth, guys. I think is it still connected? It should, right?
Normally, yes, there we go.
One second.
Yes.
So I'll be reading the chat if there are questions, and I'll get this over to the stream here.
All right. Okay, guys. So for the next part, it's going to be very important if you're going to be starting working on your levels that you have like a general idea of what you want to make, right? Don't just start making whatever, right? Because if you're going to be collecting random stuff and combining it, for example, you want to make something from The Little Mermaid, it's not going to fit in a sci-fi setting. So that's why it's going to be really important that we get a reference, right? Reference. We're going to be telling you this all the time. I think already last year they look for reference. So of course this is not the first time and definitely not the last time that we'll be talking about reference.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, well, students are smart, of course, so they try to cut corners wherever they can. So looking for reference, why shouldn't that be a corner that you can cut?
Because it's like most of the time it's like the base where everything is being built up from upon. For example, like you say, okay, I want to make like a factory, a sci-fi factory, or I want to make a spaceship or a base, a moon base or whatever. Then once you have the idea, you can already start to look for reference that's applicable to the idea that you have, because otherwise you're just going to be all over the place. You're making random stuff. It's not going to fit together, not the same style, design, mood, color, setting, everything, right? So a lot of times you think like, okay, I'm going to make a lunar base because I've watched one movie of, for example, Interstellar, and I have so many ideas. But once you start making it, you'll really understand that you're making really basic and boring stuff, just shoe boxes stacked on top of each other, hoping it will look good. But it really, really won't. It seems like there's some lag on the stream.
Yeah, there's some lag.
Okay. Alright, so yeah. The reason is once you start looking for reference, and you're going to really start seeing like some very interesting architectural buildings and like some good moods and settings that will like drive you further on, and make just sure that everything really connects, right?
Yeah. So you said like reference is the base that you work on.
Yeah.
But that's like a tip. Like, can't you just skip the base? But I have to say, guys, I have said this so many times against to students that showed awesome technique, spent tons of time on an assignment or on a portfolio piece, and then I'm saying like, man, you made this really nice. You have like nice skill.
Yeah.
But look here, and I can show them 1 and 2 reference, and they're like, oh yeah, and like they just like they made mistakes that if they had just spend 10 or 20 minutes like getting the right reference, their end result could have looked so much better.
Of course.
With exactly the same amount of work and skill set from them. Like, and it doesn't require extra skill to do the writing, but if you don't look, then you can go with like a very skilled student that spends a lot of time on it, can go in entirely wrong direction.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what will we basically expect from you guys? We'll ask from everybody actually a PureRef file. So instead of having, like, if for example we come next to you in class and we ask like, okay, so you're making this, can I see some reference for what you made? That you're not going like, okay, just let me open Google. I searched, what did I search again? Oh yes, sci-fi panel, hit enter, and I thought it was the 5th image from the 3rd row, which was like a cool one. You're going to lose all your reference. It's not really applicable, and it's going to be pure madness, right? So instead, we ask you to download PureRef, install it, make a PureRef board, and for example here, so I have an example. So you can see a really cool level, a nice architecture, some good lighting, some good materials, like the goal, right, for this course. And if you scroll down, like this guy is a professional, so he has tons of cool stuff. But even like the pros, they still work with reference boards as well, right? So here, this is basically what we will expect from you. Make a PureRef file, and for every part of your scene of what you want to make, start looking for reference. For example here, what kind of modeling style do you want to have? Want it to be like very with sharp edges or more with rounded corners? Because if you're going to start mixing all these things together, it's going to be really ugly, right? And you want to have a consistent style to your entire level. And then like, what mood or setting am I going to go for? Like a shopping mall, that's right, the lighting there will be very bright, so everything is very colorful. That won't match if you're making a sewer down in like a pit on Mars, for example. You don't, then it's an entirely different mood and setting, right?
So this is what we expect the students to do in the coming week, basically. So this you can start gathering your reference like basically right now, like right after the stream or in the class and so on. I have a good question from Daniel. How can we look for reference for something that doesn't exist without stealing art? And I know why he asks that question. There is, by some of the teachers, that's not
some of the teachers.
Yeah, some the ones from the pre-pro team. There is the definition of reference is it's only pictures, and anything that's not pictures is not classed as reference. However, this is not how the rest of the world uses the word reference, and not how we use it as a word. We see reference as anything that you can get something from, you can be inspired, you can know how to look. So yes, you will steal art. If you're
steal
ever
like an artist.
Yeah, if you're ever in the illusion that you're not stealing art, sorry guys, but
like you're not that good.
No, every artist has been stealing art from the artist beforehand, all the way up until the guy who first made like and
then the other was, that's a great idea, let me do it again, like
against the wall. And from then on, everybody just copied and just made it like hopefully a little bit better. So obviously you get inspired by everything. Like if you wouldn't copy, you wouldn't even have the concept of sci-fi. So like you don't just look at like existing like real world pictures are nice as well, and they're super important to use as well.
Yeah, but
you can definitely use art too. All right, Daniel.
Okay, so basically, what we don't want to see is like folders with jammed images or like so going back from like what we want from you guys. So just make a PureRef file with everything nicely cluttered,
not cluttered,
placed together. My apologies, and with like nice labels and stuff. For example, as you can see here on the stream, this is perfect, right? Because that way, if you're like making some mistakes or some design choices, then we can go back to your reference and say like, look here, this looks a lot cooler, a lot more interesting, and it's like really to help you make just cooler stuff, right? Okay, so if you're using all the reference that you gathered, it will make your level so much better. And just think about this. This work, this environments one, is a very good piece for looking for an internship, right? If you can show a kick-ass level to a company, they'll be like, okay, that guy or girl, he or she knows his shit, right? So see this as like your pride.
There's a word from it.
I can't remember.
But I just can't.
Okay, and just
pièce de résistance.
Just it will help you to elevate your work to a new level, basically. So, okay. Now for the next part, like of course, now how do I start gathering good and applicable reference, right? This is going to be very important because, like, the world is filled with reference. For example, we can look at some existing games that, right, they exist. Why not be inspired from them? For example, here we have a scene from Warframe in which you can see, okay, in this level they went for more an aquatic scene. Let's say you want to make a base on some part of the deep sea level. Then you're going to have a different style to work towards instead of somebody working, for example, with a spaceship, right? It's going to have a different look and feel and vibe to it. So then you would start looking for like, okay, I'm going to have, for example, glasses, a more deep sea vibe to it. So then you start looking for stuff like that. For example, you're making more of an alien world vibe. You're going for more, for example, Doom style, very industrial, hard. And here you can see it looks very daunting, but this is something that is actually achievable if you combine all the techniques that we will teach you, right? So things like this will really inspire you. For example, like a big hole here for to that you can see the next level, right? So it will be a bigger and broader level. For example, it doesn't always need to be a 3D scene, right? You can look at existing concept art too. Like this looks amazing, right? Such a good vibe setting, the lighting, the colors, with like the blue lights, it's super, super beautiful. So then you can think like, oh, at my level, it would be really cool to have some like cold blue lighting in there to really set like a chill mood that you're like a little bit unease. Then instead, for example, if you compare it to like a scene from Apex Legends, this is very bright, more like corporate feeling, right? This is all sci-fi, but you can already start to see that there is so many different levels to sci-fi. So people say like, oh, I'm thinking about sci-fi, I'm making Star Wars, for example, which you can do, right? Star Wars is a good example as well, but there's so much more that you can do with it. And once you have like a general idea for like I'm going to say a reactor, but please not everybody make a reactor. But yeah, then you can start building around it and start gathering that applicable reference. Another good scene here, from example, Star Citizen. Like this has more like the spaceship feel to it. Feels really, really nice, and it's like using the same techniques that we will show you as well. Not only look at, for example, renders and images. Look, there are some great videos out there as well. We will be showing and posting everything. For example, here we have a video of common sci-fi mistakes, and this is already a very, very good example of why you need to get a reference. If you, for example, make a pipe that like oil goes through it, or air, or whatever, or water, the first thing that you think like, okay, I'm going to copy it down 3 times underneath, and then I'm done, and it looks cool. No, this is super boring.
It already looks cooler than just one pipe.
Yeah, of course it does, but you can make it that much better by, for example, okay, if I look up from an actual if this would load like an actual factory, then you can see that there will be pipes everywhere as well. If this wants to load, yeah, for example, here, bigger pipes, smaller pipes, those things combined, it's so much more interesting. And that's something it's hard to, if you're more like an advanced artist, you'll think about these things about yourself. But if you're like a starting artist, this will help you.
I kind of disagree with that. If you're an advanced artist, you still don't think about it yourself. No. It's just you've seen the reference before, and you still remember it because maybe you've already done this 3 or 4 times in the past.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So that's why, as you can see here, it looks so much more interesting. And it's, for example, this can still be the same pipe, just scaled down, scaled up a little bit with a different material, a texture on it, and it just looks so much more interesting. And that's what we want, right? We want interesting and cool levels.
By the way, guys, you should also watch this video on YouTube by Alex Seneschal.
Yeah, we'll share a link on.
He's a great artist, a great sci-fi artist.
Yeah, we'll post this. I'll probably show this in my class as well. Just put it up. He's talking sometimes about guns as well, but a lot of things are like very applicable to your environments. Like here, how do you use colors? What is like good color schemes? Like should you do balance or details and stuff? Okay, so next up, you shouldn't only look at games, right? So like Milan already said, look about everything in the world around you. You can look at existing architecture as well. For example, I'm a big fan of the brutalist architecture movement, like big, strong concrete buildings. Like here, you can see, of course, this is the outside of the building that we see. But just imagine this instead of like everything concrete with like sci-fi panels, with like the small, thin windows, big structures that are feeling very like strong, and you're like feeling very small. Would be really cool. And by looking at these kind of images, it will trigger you to make more interesting shapes and buildings as well. Okay, don't go overboard. There are some really strange things in there as well, but it's really just for yourself to be like a cool trigger to make awesome stuff. Okay.
Maybe I want to sort of revert something as well.
Of course.
So of course you look at or you gather all that reference, but you have to gather reference for many different aspects as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have your room shapes.
Yeah.
So you look at architecture. I think there was a question: can we base ourselves on existing architecture and then make a sci-fi version out of that? And yes, you can. Like,
of course,
you don't have to perfectly copy it, but if you see, oh, this is really cool in this church, you can do that in a sci-fi setting as well. Have the same shape. So look at shapes for architecture, but also look at lighting. Reference for lighting, and atmosphere.
Exactly.
Reference for materials as well.
Yeah.
So just like which material, like close-ups. Like, is it rusty? Is it metal? Is it dirty?
Yeah.
Those kind of materials, and also, of course, sci-fi shapes as well.
Yeah.
Which you can also combine with, like real world reference.
Of course,
to learn from, but games, movies, existing IP.
Yeah.
You can also look at those things. So basically, you can make you shouldn't copy things one-on-one.
No.
That's useless. It's also no fun. There's no you don't have as much ownership over it.
We still want it to be original, right?
Imagine if you do it super good and you copy it 100%, what's the point?
Exactly.
However, if your level looks as if it's part of Warframe, or as if it's part of Doom, or as if it's part of the Halo IP, or as if it's it fits in Apex Legends, or what others that we have, Star Wars and
Star Citizen,
Star Citizen, those kind of if you're a fan of one of those and you make fan art and it fits perfectly in that style because you looked at a lot of reference and you stole stuff from that and you've applied that in your own level, then that's great too. So you don't all have to shy away from existing stuff. No, you can actually make existing stuff, but don't copy it exactly.
Of course.
Especially if you're not as sure about yourself as an artist, or as I would say a student, because we also have the GD students here. Then maybe stay closer to existing IPs. So for GD students, just stay really close to existing IP, and you that's gonna help you make it look nice.
Because then already the color palettes will be great, the general feel.
Yeah,
and that's again it's not because it's not from like a real game, that it's not going to be like applicable to your own style. For example, here you can see all these pipes, interesting lighting happening, some yellow to like really spark your gaze to it. So look at real life photos, look at movies, games, just everything that can inspire you to make something awesome. That should be like, you should then save it, upload it in your PureRef file, and then the more you build upon this, the better your general idea of the style and vibe you want to go for will like manifest, right? Everything will come together, and if you then like put all the energy and all the thoughts and fantasy and everything that you made into one thing, that would be great. So maybe we can talk about the students who would say like, oh, I want to make my own designs. And
what if you want to like basically design something from scratch? You don't want to copy anything. You want to start from zero.
That's we're going to say no to that, because we are not born designers. Good design is really, really hard. I know a lot of you guys think like, but yeah, I got a 12 or 15 on my pre-production last year, I can nail this. It's not the goal, right? Because for example, instead of like, here we have a concept art piece from Halo, and let's say you work 20 to 30 hours on this, making a really nice, beautiful drawing with perspective.
Impress Lino.
Impress Lino. You could have used that time to work on your level, and your block out, your mood, your setting, your lighting. There's just so much better things to do than like focusing all your intention on this, because we're not going to give grades for this, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's basically two reasons why you shouldn't make your own design. First reason is that it just takes way too long.
Exactly.
Like basically you can spend half of the semester or the whole semester just on the design, even if you're a good if you're good at design, if you're a good concept artist already, even then it will take too long.
Exactly.
And the second reason is, if the design isn't really good, which is often the case, like if it's a bit I'll put it that way, sorry students, but I don't trust everybody to make like awesome sci-fi designs. I wouldn't trust myself to make nice sci-fi designs.
It's really
hard. So if it's a bit then even if you make it really nice, like it's
the design is still
like
exactly.
That's the bottleneck, right? So then you still have something.
If the pillar you designed looks like crap,
the design
it will
is bad,
look like
and then
crap
you model
in 3D
it
as well,
and texture it perfectly. It's still
but it is still okay if you have an idea to just quickly sketch it, right? Of course
like you should also like get the reference, but I also really love having just a few pages of just drawing the reference, basically. And I don't mean like perspective drawings. I don't mean anything that's related to pre-production. Like the same thing for GD students as well. Like just on a, what they call it, rijtjespapier, just on paper with a printed rows and so on. That's meant for writing, and just with your
you put it your big or something.
It doesn't matter with anything. Like you don't need any special equipment, and just like with squiggly lines,
it really doesn't matter, right? It just if you have an idea,
but then you get the idea on paper, and it's sort of locked in your head, and then it's way easier to
because if you want to say like, oh, I'm just going to start blocking out in 3D, like in Maya or 3ds Max or Blender or whatever, it will look garbage most of the time.
Well, a block out in 3D is good, but a block out on paper
goes faster.
Is 100 times faster, right? So so definitely some sketches will help. It will help everybody. It's like it shouldn't even take time. Like you just like while you're looking at it, just like let your hand make the thing, and like in 30 seconds you've got it, and then you can see, okay, this is the sort of proportions I'll go for, and
don't draw
a bolt here, and I'll put a bolt here, and I'll see, hold on, no, that's too many bolts.
Yeah, this looks like shit.
And then you can just
be critical for your own work, and also don't damn it, I forgot what I was going to say.
I don't know.
Crap. I forgot. Never mind.
All right. Let's move on.
Okay. Yes. So For the weekly seminars, so if you're going to be here at school, so we're going to be giving, like Milan already said, we're going to give feedback on your designs and on your iterations and everything. So that's like the main goal of why you should be present here, right? So all the theory and everything will be said here. So just a small recap. And here we'll be giving feedback on your blockout, AU level design, your design choices, and then with the reference that you gathered, then we can like point towards it again. So again, reference is really, really important to work with. Reference is key. The sentence exists for a reason. Okay, maybe another small recap, or
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we will motivate you guys to make really cool and awesome stuff. We'll do this by the weekly streams, like we're doing right now, to get you guys hyped and to teach you the stuff that you need to know. Otherwise, there will also be the video time lapses of an entire level being made from scratch, which will be posted weekly or 2 weekly, depending on the how big the video is. Also, we're going to be bombarding you guys with cool reference, nice videos, some good tutorials, things to help you guys reach a new level and better work. Also, we have started a Pinterest board, as you can see here, that we will share with you guys as well. If you're not 100% sure of what you want to make, or you just want to get inspired to spark your mind, oh, this could be cool, and then you can get a new train of thought. So this will be shared as an entire Pinterest board with awesome art. There's also a ArtStation collection that I started with some good reference as well. The works that you can see on here are the goal, right? If you want to get inspired and say what is really awesome, this stuff is really awesome. And this is of course most of the times from the industry best, and there's actually one student working here as well. So yeah, just get inspired, right? And we'll be here to help you do that, and you should inspire each other as well, trigger each other. For example, if you're giving feedback, don't just say oh, that's bad, that's ugly. No, say oh, this could be cool if you can do this. And then if you give cool feedback and reference good feedback to another student, he or she might do the same back to you, and that way you can evolve together.
Okay. That concludes your
yes, there's so much more I want to tell you guys, but we're actually on a time constraint, unfortunately.
Right. I'm gonna fire up Unreal. I know most of you have already used Unreal a bit in the first year, but I'm gonna show you how to do BSP brushes to start designing a level. And I'm gonna look at that screen, so I'm gonna push it a little bit closer to me. Oops. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. If you have any questions while Milan is explaining stuff, ask me in the chat. I'll be following it up.
Wait, can you unhook your mouse?
Sorry. There we go.
All right. So we will start. Let me get this here on. We will give you a project on Leo. It might already be on there. Can you check that?
It's already on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that project has a U project, a .u project file.
You don't need to follow along, Daniel, because you can rewatch it later on.
Yeah.
You can.
I'm gonna do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
But if you want to follow along, or if you can, you can try it. It's okay for me. But I think most people won't be following along, so I kind of do it quick, and then you can sort of do it at your own time. This is maybe the part of the video also that some of you will rewatch.
Rewatch the reference part. That was awesome.
Yeah, rewatch everything. All right, but as you start it up, you'll be seeing something like this. But we're gonna.
The stream is freezing.
The stream is freezing.
F in chat, boys.
F's in the chat, yeah. Gonna wait a sec.
Nee, het staat echt gewoon vast.
It's buffering. Ik ga er gewoon doorrushen. No, it's just internet connection. We back?
We back up and running? I think so.
Do you guys still hear us? Audio is back.
Audio is back? Visuals not. Okay. There was a question if you should still come to the square for your classes. Milan, you maybe can give some insight on that, or you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you should. Yeah.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Come to the classes if you can come. Please come, because that way we can help you talk about your designs, your ideas, and of course, yeah, today will be, and tomorrow, and the classes will be mainly talking and like looking for reference in your idea, and also starting on your block out. And if you have issues with Unreal or things you don't really understand, then we are here as well to help you. Okay.
I think we should be up since the signal here is good. The internet is good too. So
is dat like not het vast?
Maybe can I sort of like refresh it or?
No, I think also refresh that like a crash and never meant any CV. It's good if I play it with it like this.
Well, normally like refreshing shouldn't be necessary since YouTube. Oh yeah, the delay is pretty big.
Okay, let's see. Someone said let me see the US, but also got that on
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's in real either. Oh, yeah, I think we are moving back.
Well, this should be green again. Stream health.
Poor. Damn it. Okay, apparently webcam's back. Alright.
Alright, but the delay doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, the delay doesn't matter as long as you can smoothly see the screen. Alright. Okay, so I'll assume it's working, but maybe with a huge delay. Yeah, this is Unreal. I'll make the webcam a bit smaller. Oops, there we go. All right. So this is what we will see. A level with a few things in here, but actually we will start with a new level, which will be an empty level. So we'll simply set up an empty level. So we're now in a black void with nothing inside. And what we'll use is here in the geometry tab, you'll find this box. This is something different from the cube that you see here. This is actually a mesh, like a box. These other things are also some other meshes. This is something else. This is geometry. And as you drag it in, you see this red box, which is actually a red, which is actually like a mathematical volume. And as I release the mouse, it sort of takes a few frames, and then we have the resulting geometry. So this is called a brush as well, but yeah, I think they should have called it maybe a volume. So the geometry that we see now, the face that we see now, are the result of that mathematical volume that I placed. If I copy it here, then it's two brushes. That looks like it's exactly the same, like two boxes. But actually, if I snap them against each other, oh no, now I copied it again. So now I have three boxes actually, like this. This is actually one volume. There are no walls in between here. Wait, let me delete this one and put this one here. So if you put them against each other, the inside, there's no inside. There's like in between those two volumes, there are no insides. Video lagging, audio fine. My CPU is doing fine, guys. It's what I can maybe do is lower the settings. Wait,
staat op dat je altijd een online met zelfs.
Ja. Okay, guys, can you tell me if this is working? I've lowered the settings and the stream status seems to be good. Yeah, there's a bit of delay. Cam looks okay now. Yeah, Unreal, I don't think the problem is Unreal.
So far.
All right, so I'll continue where I left off. Yeah, the everything seems to be healthy. All right, so these are, let me repeat this. So these are, you have to understand, these are not meshes like you have in Max. These are volumes, and then Unreal calculates the resulting geometry on top of that. So it's like a skin that gets pulled over those volumes. So here there's two next to each other, so it will like combine the two into one shape. You can see it kind of in the texture here, but it's still one shape. And what you can also do is that you can have these brushes as additive brushes, but you can also have those brushes as subtractive brushes. So instead of having volumes that add matter to the world, you can also have volumes that subtract matter to the world. So let me make a third one. Let's change it to a subtractive brush. And then if I select the three brushes, right? So these are the three brushes, and then this U shape is the resulting geometry from that. So you have to realize that these, this BSP system, as you see it here, binary space partitioning system, it's an old system. It used to be used to create all sorts of buildings and like all the little details, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to use this system to make blockouts, very simple shapes of the level, without any details. If you're doing any details, you'll have to model them. or you should be modeling them, which you shouldn't do in the beginning. So we'll make these really large shapes. And the good thing is that we can instantly play this and instantly test it. So the iteration between playing and testing our level is nearly instant. We just have to click the play button. While if you would do this process in Max, you have to go through a whole importing process, and it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you have to set the. But you also have to set the collision, and so like might take half an hour. Like you're just not gonna do it, and here it takes a second, right? So that's the big advantage. That's why the BSP system is still being used, but not for details any longer. So if you're following along, delete everything that you might have placed in your level, and first, sorry guys, but first make sure that this here is turned on. This is grid snapping, so this button needs to be yellow. And that this grid snapping is set to 100. So by default it's set to 10, set it to 100. So that's 100 units. So that means that you can only place something every meter, since Unreal uses a unit as a centimeter, so that's every meter. So that means that if we place walls, the smallest wall is going to be 1 meter wide, but in games you want everything to be a little bit bigger anyway, and you want to you don't want to get into details. Something that's super important about this grid snapping of 100 is that also later on all our modular meshes will also snap to that grid, and this will make it a factor 5 times quicker than if you would like not have used the grid. So and every year there's 1 or 2 students in every class that are like, yeah, I'm not gonna use the grid, I can do it without a grid, and they get in massive trouble later on in the semester. And some of them just didn't know, others were cocky and thought, that rule doesn't apply to me, I can do it because I'm so great. And then they just work themselves into trouble. So everybody, like you can have details that are smaller, of course, later on, but we're going to add them when we model them. Right now, for the design, everything on a 100 grid. All right, I'm going to make a super small level. You guys can make it considerably bigger with just boxes. And preferably also, you use those subtractive brushes very sparsely, because they depend on the order. So I can now place an additive brush inside of that subtractive brush. I can then subtract a part of that additive brush again, and it just becomes a confusing mess. So if you need a space in between something, you can also often just use some additive brushes around it and not fill the space that you want to have.
Just make it empty.
And then you see these other shapes: the cone, the cylinder, the curved stair, linear stair, spiral stair, sphere. Don't use those, right? So if you think you need them, then start molding. That's something for later. So for this phase, you should not use this, and these are simply in here for legacy reasons. When I was a kid, I used to make a level for a Medal of Honor.
long ago, those days.
And then we used all these shapes to make like houses and so on. But now that's all done in modeling software. All right.
There was a question if these BSP brushes are voxels.
No, not exactly. So look it up if you want to know. It's BSP, binary space partitioning. It's a specific system, but it's not exactly brushes. So if you never worked in Unreal and you want to navigate and so on, I point you towards the not towards Jens, but towards the reference of Unreal itself. They have excellent introduction videos around. There's tons about that. But for those for building a level with those brushes, it's extremely handy to use the 4 side views as well. So in Max, the first thing I think we said is
get rid of it.
Don't use it. It's not useful. Like just use a perspective view. But here actually it is extremely useful. So okay, I want to have a big brush for a floor to start off with. So I can select this brush. and I can go here in the setting and change the setting. So now it's two grid space 200, and then change it. But this is really awkward to do. What I want to do is I just want to select like a face and then like move it like I'm modeling, and that's actually possible if you change the mode here to brush editing mode. So brush editing mode is the way to go. And then here you see a bunch of tools that look like modeling tools. So we're now in the edit mode. There's also the clip, the pen, the lathe, flip, those kind of things. Again, don't touch them. If you think you need them, you should be doing it in a modeling software. But as you can see here, we've now have a different view. So I can now actually wait. I'm just gonna make it bigger. So I have now selected the entire brush, right? So I can deselect it if I select it, but I can also click again. So I can have two selection levels, I should say. If I click again, I now have this face selected, all right? Or I can select a point, or you can select an edge. So here I can do it like this, but yeah, this becomes awkward since you like constantly have to move the camera about, and yeah, it's just much quicker if you just do it here. So if I want to make a floor, I just do in the top view here. And actually, if you select, if you click on a line here, this is Max doesn't have this, but we actually have the full face selected. We have the two underlying lines selected, so you can just do it like this, like this. All right, so I now have this space. Now, if I want to have a wall next to this, then yeah, I should go change back into select mode, go into place actors, have a new box, and so on. So that's awkward. You don't want to do that. So what you want to do actually is just go in the, not go in like a sub selection. So escape to just select the brush. Just copy this this brush using Alt. So just copy and change this one. So here we have a wall. If it needs to be a thin wall, fine, we'll have a thin wall. Well, a 1 meter thin wall. If I want a different volume, I'll make a, make a different volume. So basically we're constantly just copy, move, up, copy. Yeah, you can sometimes do it in 3D too. Move. All right. So as you're doing this, the pivot point might not be in the center anymore. You can replace it, or you can put it. You can put the pivot point on a corner by right-clicking, and then we have the pivot point on a corner. All right. Wait. Okay. What can happen if you're moving this thing here? Watch closely. So, so these volumes are all touching each other. So the resulting geometry is one piece. Now, what can happen is that, look closely. If I take the top of the face and I move it down, right? Because I want to make this smaller, that I accidentally move it under the bottom. So I kind of pushed this box, inside out, right? If I let go now, as you can see here, the resulting geometry is a total mess, and now I can actually see the inside. So since the resulting geometry is calculated here on everything together, you get like these seemingly you get these bugs. Let me select them all so you can see them. You like, it seems like these are bugged. These are fine, but it's this one that's been turned inside out. Also, if I select it from the top, I actually select the bottom. So you have to, if that happens to you, as soon as you see it, stop and figure out which brush you turned inside out. If you fix that one, it should be back to normal.
There's a question from Daniel. How about blocking out stairs and stuff?
Yes, if you have stairs, you might be, because I can then use these. Don't use those. What we're simply gonna do is, so here I want to get from this part, I want to go here, and then maybe go up here. So we can also make curved surfaces. Basically, we're just gonna make a ramp here in the side view. So make a ramp. So I'm gonna copy this brush, put it in the corner here, make sure that the top connects, the top connects to this part, and then I'm gonna bring inside view here, bring these vertices down. So I have this ramp now, and ideally, I'm not sure if you can see it in the stream, but ideally I have a slope of let's say you go up 1 block and you move sideways 2 blocks. So you have this slope. If you consistently have the same slopes throughout your level, you can then later on place a modular stair piece on based on that angle, and it will fit all the stairs that you have in your level.
Yeah, just watch out with having like very steep slopes that you basically can't run on
exactly.
anymore.
It also like it's a little bit less steep as standard stairs in our world, but they look pretty good, and then you can like have these points later on to snap stairs on. And then from the top view, I will make it smaller.
Joachim asked if you shouldn't weld the touching vertices.
No, so actually by moving them on the same, by snapping them on the same position in the grid, they sort of got melted. Like you can't pull them out, and it's just not necessary. So there's no resulting, like there's no little zero size face where we push the vertices together. Like this is not it's not a box like in Max. Like also whoops. So here there's like no shape. Yeah, there's no part here now. Like if we move inside or something, you can't, like that part of the floor here doesn't exist. So so the resulting geometry is actually clean, as if this would be melted. Not melted.
Welded.
Yeah. So you want to avoid having like odd angles. So you don't want to rotate brushes. Don't rotate brushes unless it's 90 or 180 degrees. Since if you rotate at odd angles, you won't be on the grid anymore, and you also never want to scale stuff. But you don't need to scale stuff. You can just move it to make it bigger. So move the edges to make it bigger or smaller. Don't scale it. But in this case, let's say I also want like a stair to go up here, and instead of you could just copy this brush, since it's let's see, side view here. Yeah, I don't have enough space to make a nice
the Mixtrot asks how long the class will continue, because it was until 12.
Yeah, we asked for a 2-hour slot. It's almost done. We're almost done. We're gonna add some lights and then we're done. All right. So some ramps to go up. So you might want to start playing your level, which that's the awesome thing. But if you play it now, it's gonna be pitch black. There's no light in this world, so it's gonna be pitch black. So we're gonna add some lights here. First of all, you want to add directional light, which you can either find here underneath the lights, or here if you look for it. If you start typing directional light, then you will find it too. So just drag and drop that. Doesn't matter where you drag and drop it in the scene. And then this little arrow that you see here is the direction of the light. So make that a bit of an odd angle that doesn't correspond with any of the planes. All right. now we could play in here, but this is still pitch black, so there's nothing to bounce light from, and yeah, it looks in this black void. So we're gonna fix that with an atmospheric fog. So start typing atmosphere or atmospheric. Drag and drop that in. You don't need to change any settings.
Boom.
But now this black is really awkward, right? This like there should be bounce light in here, and we're gonna fix that with so first of all, the atmospheric fog is dynamic, and it can depend on the direction of the sun. Of the directional light, but you can define one directional light as the sun, and then the atmospheric fog will take that into account. So in the setting of the directional light, let me first move we're gonna sit in the other corner. Here in the settings, in the details, if you type here sun, you find atmospheric fog sun. If you turn that on, the atmosphere will actually change if you so you will see that sort of disk in there, right? And then to fix this blackness, we're gonna add a skylight. With a space, skylight. Gonna drop that in here. And now this is already better. Maybe you want to set the intensity from 1 to 2 or something. But basically now, if you right click, you can choose play from here, and we are actually walking through a level. You have these preview things here. Don't worry about that for now. We'll end up fixing that later on. But you can start playing and start sort of having a sense of your
beautiful level.
Your architecture. You should be able to jump. You should be able to crouch like this, and jump down. If your camera flies off, if you're like a floating camera, it means you don't have the project set up. But normally, if you build it inside of the project, this should work right away. And then so like if I would now make a corner in here, you could make use those sparingly use those subtractive brushes. So let me here duplicate this like this. It's lagging a bit, okay, but I hope hopefully it's mostly working. Like this. All right, so if I make this subtractive, that's a nice corner. Or if you want to have like a little bit of large detail, you can also use that. So imagine you want like a little bridge on top of this. We could. Oops. No.
There was a question in the meantime. There's a question from X Nancy X Boy X. Please use your real student or actual name. So the question is, everything has to stay perpendicular, as in does everything need to be 90 degrees, like the walls and everything, the layout? Do you have to stay on the grid, for example, for walls and other kind of stuff?
Good question. Well, yes, make sure that you have points on the grid. You can have 45-degree angles, which are also on the grid, or these 2x1 angles, like we have the stairs, or like this bridge. So something like this is possible too. But basically, these points are also on the grid. So you wanna respect the grid, because that means that later on we can place respect the grid, guys.
Respect the grid.
Later on we can use the grid when we're placing our meshes or modular meshes, and it will go so much quicker.
And it's true. Really believe this.
Yeah, really believe
this.
So round spaces. How about round spaces? Well, round spaces are
very hard.
They are a pain in the and can you do them? Yeah, I'm not gonna say no, don't do round space. Just be aware it's gonna take 3 times as long as a
good example. Last year I had 3 or 4 students in my class who made a round shape, and in the end they all regretted it.
Yeah,
and I told them in the beginning as well, don't do it. But they like, oh, make it work. Just
but you can use angles as long as the points between the angles are on a grid.
Yep.
And later, we can later on have like some plants and so on. Like not everything needs to be. But you want to mainly have the
big shapes, the cornerstone of your level. There was one more question: is the blockout techniques with BSP blockout? If I don't want to watch more tutorials on this,
if you don't want to watch more tutorials on this,
yes. So yes, we're going to use the BSP brushes to make our blockout.
Yeah. So here, and then one more thing, if you want the player to start at a specific start, you can add a player start. You can find it here in the basics player start.
I remembered what I was going to say like a little bit a while back.
Wait, I'm going to show the player start. So just drag and drop it in the level. It should sort of pop a little bit on top of the ground. If you then click play, well, no. Let me first show what happens if you click play. Then you start playing from the camera position, which is not ideal. And I'm gonna focus back on that thing here. If you drag and drop the player start here, if I now click play, I spawn in the world at this location. I can also put the player start like in this this tunnel I made. See, so that's something else. And now you can just play because if you don't build the light yet, the light in Unreal gets built. If you click this button, you don't have to do it yet. You can just stay like this, and even in dark spaces it should you should have light, so you can sort of go everywhere and see everything. So you can already either just play with the BSPs or get used to the BSPs, but also maybe you already try some ideas for a level and for some architecture and so on. That's fine too. But the important thing is that you build a level gonna restart that sentence. The important thing for this week is to use BSPs on a grid of 100, get used to using those BSPs, get used to iterating. If you just do like just a test level that you're gonna throw away, that's fine too. But have like a list of here like a 50 to 100 BSPs at least this week. It shouldn't take that long, but I get it. Like it's a new software. It's like the buttons are new and it goes a little bit different and so on. But get to know those things this week. That's the important thing.
One more very, very important thing that we forgot to mention, which I now remember, is make the inside of a building.
Yes.
We didn't mention it.
Yes. So you basically don't want to be able to look around the environment.
Yes.
So if you have a spaceship, which you can do, by the way,
yes.
If you have a spaceship and you have windows and you just see like, the part of the universe or something, you can do that with a sort of sky dome and so on.
Of course.
You can fix it, but if like a building like here, like in the
see
square
big
or the level,
and
you see like the cars and they're all different, and you see the students and you see the plants and you see the houses, and like you see so much distance and so much objects there that is just really hard to model them convincingly. Maybe a moon base could work, but then you have to like make the moon and the rocks and so on. So that's way less work than that, but it's still more work than we want from you.
Exactly.
So you can stay sort of inside of the building and have windows which are higher up, so you don't really see outside.
Exactly.
You just see, you don't see the world outside. You just see the
sky.
sky outside and so on. Those things are better options. Yeah.
All
right. I think that's it. Happy to be back. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the in the actual class with mouth masks on this time, and yeah, enjoy your dinner.
Okay, yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you learned a lot. If there are still questions, you can ask them in the class.
Yeah, in the class or on Discord. Yeah.
One of us has a quiz. How would I manage it?
All right, so I think
Nico, you can send me an. If you're one of my students, you can send me an email. If not, send them to the teacher in the specific place.
I'm gonna answer some questions as I read them. So you guys recommend not to do medieval and wood textures, yeah, because it's texturing. Dirty and gritty textures, that's okay. Like if you have lots of dirt and so on, we can sort of put that in the shader as well. That's fine, but not too much different types of textures.
I wish Raid Shadow Legends was sponsoring us. Would be nice. Okay, so now you should focus on a block out in Unreal, gathering reference, and just thinking about what do you want to make.
The block out in Unreal, mostly just to get accustomed to the software.
Exactly. And to try some stuff out.
Yeah, you can already try your actual level and your actual rooms if that's what you want. If you want to first also like make some drawings on paper, that's awesome as well. And then of course also gather reference and so on as well. All right. Yeah, it can be a test scene as well. Both are fine.
Yeah, it can be that, for example, if now today in class you start working on a block out and your first block out will hopefully not be your final block out because you'll just be testing random stuff and you think like, oh, this would be cool, and then it would work. And
it would be like very strange if your first block out is actually your best one. Like it.
Again, you need to work on this. Yes.
Just test it and just spend your brain power on learning the software, and then as that smooths out, we can start designing and iterating.
Entry Vin 19. How about Quake Gore style sci-fi?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
Go for it. But don't lose yourself in modeling like separated parts or like guts from like a demon. That's not the goal, right? You can have blood on the walls. That's fine. But don't start modeling aliens that are running around in your scene. That's not the goal of this course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna wrap up.
Can we send you mood boards or read for feedback or on if it's too hard? Yes, you can send us.
But ideally, you show it in the class.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, for the students who follow along with me, I'll be in the second part of my class. So the first hour and a half, I'll be focusing on the people who are present, and then the second part, I'll be online on Discord to give feedback for the people who have to stay home because of Corona.
Yes.
But if you can make it to class, you should come.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, like, don't just send in here. This is my ref board.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a specific question, sure, but
yeah, we need context. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you in class.